Street cred sports. Street cred sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping.
Hello, this is Keenan of Street Cred Sports, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. Well, I kind of thought about if I was going to do one or if I was going to take a week off since it was, holidays and such. Did my Christmas special one with Coach Williams last week. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, go back in the archives. I think it was pretty good. But I was like, you know what? I'll just wait. Then I was like, nah, you know what? I have a window. So I just had a Vertimax training, and now I have another training coming up. So I was like, you know what? Let me get in the booth and spit some bars on the last day of the year. So this is episode 85. I'm going to make this one a rather quick one so we can, enjoy the rest of our day and get some black eyed peas and stuff like that. I got to look into, because I know they say black eyed peas, you eat black eyed peas the first of the year, it gives you luck. I need to find out, what the origin is and who came up with that. Because I don't know about my luck. No, I'm just playing. Like, look, my luck is been good. I've been blessed. I really hate to use the term I've been blessed because everybody says it. I'll just say I've been really, really fortunate to, still be on this planet. Been real fortunate for family members and friends and stuff to still be here, and the relationships and stuff and health. So I guess they are working. I just need to know what was the story behind it. So I hope everybody's doing well. Look, please be safe. I don't drink, and that's just something when I say I don't drink, I don't drink. It's not like, I'll have an occasional. No, I'll touch on the story. When I was like 8 or 9, maybe 9 or around 8 or 9, my dad let me try a beer. And I tasted it, and it was nasty. It was like really nasty. So I took a sip, and I was like, nah, I ain't gonna never drink beer, right? And that's just kind of how I am with things. It's like if I try it and I don't like it, I don't want to ever do it again, which is wrong. But that's just kind of how my mentality has always been, growing up. So then, sometime later, let me try what they call Wild Irish Rose. It's a brand of alcohol, and it's like what they use to like jet fuel, I guess. I know some people have said that before. I took a sip and it burned my throat. Never wanted to drink any alcohol again, because for me, I kind of associated like that it all tastes like that. Now, when you talk to people who occasionally drink champagne or beer or alcohol, everybody has their own taste, and they say, you know what, that was the worst thing that you could have ever tried, because it doesn't taste, all alcohol and stuff doesn't taste like that. So needless to say, I just from those two experiences, those two sips, it's like, nah, I'll never drink again. I'll not ever drink again. I'll never drink, right? Because it was so bad. So throughout my life, I've never drank, and everybody can attest to it. Everybody tries to get me to drink sometimes, but I don't ever, have that peer pressure and stuff. And I'll mess with people sometimes, and I'll send them a picture with me holding a beer, and they'll crack up. So I say that to say that I don't drink alcohol or beer or anything like that. Now I know that, a lot of you out there do drink. All I'm asking is that, just be responsible. Have somebody with you to drive you. Or if you're partying at home, that's fine. You're not leaving. But if you're going to have people coming over there and they're going to get drunk, maybe let them stay, because one bad decision can change somebody's life by taking somebody's life, and it's crazy because you hear it every year. You hear it all the time with drunk drivers and stuff. And it's just the weirdest thing that how people can continue to drink and drive knowing all of these different consequences. But this portion is sponsored by 915 Carpet Cleaning. They take care of all of your needs,
Whether it's residential or commercial, whether it's flooring or carpet, 915 Carpet Cleaning, they get the job done. Look up 915 Carpet Cleaning, the carpet cleaner you know before you need one.
Antennas are on even more because it's New Year's and people celebrate by doing it. So, just be careful because you don't want to, number one, put yourself in a situation where you're going to get pulled over, right? That's the least of your worries. That's the best thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is you can take somebody's life, yours, somebody in the vehicle with you, or somebody else outside of the vehicle. So, I don't mean to plead because I'm more of a, well, if you do it, you got to own it and be accountable. But, I really hope that more people would look at it and think about what could happen before they actually do it. So with that being said, enjoy yourself, obviously, but let's try to bring the new year in right for each other and go from there. So let me get into the weekly events or things that interest me. Let me start off with the Sacramento Kings. I feel like that's a very sad situation. So for those of you who didn't know, and I still have my phone on because I'm, getting messages and stuff, so I got to be able to communicate. So if you hear the ding, this will be the one time that I'll allow notifications to come on because I'm in here by myself. I'm at the spot, the facility, doing my thing. So let me get back to the Kings situation. For those of you who don't know, the Sacramento Kings fired their head coach, Mike Brown. Now, 2 years ago, Mike Brown gets Coach of the Year at Sacramento, gets them to the playoffs. They hadn't went to the playoffs in I think it's like 15, 16 years, right? So he gets to the playoffs. Last year they had a down year. This year they started out rough, to say the least, and he gets fired. Now, here's why I say it was a sad situation, and me personally, I don't think I was rooting for Sacramento. I mean, that year I was really feeling them and like, yeah, I love what they're doing. I love the energy, the way they're playing and everything. And I thought they would ascend to be one of those teams in the top 4 or 6, for the next 3 or 4 years with everything that they had. You figure they would just get better. Last year they took a step back. Now, they fired him. The way they fired him was messed up because they let him come to practice. He goes through all the other stuff. And then when they're getting ready to leave to get on the plane, apparently he was in this vehicle when he got the call that he was let go. I think it was messed up. Right now, let's get into why, one of the reasons why I feel, and this is just my opinion. Okay, there's some discord with the team. Now, prior to this firing, the night before they played, I believe it was Detroit. Detroit's down by 3. So right around 5 seconds left in the game, a little bit more, I think. And as a player, well, we're not giving up a 3, right? We're not letting anybody take a 3. Mid-range or layups, okay. That can't hurt us, right? If they get a mid-range pull or they get a layup, then, they're going to be looking to foul. And then we go and make our free throws, which is what we should be able to do, and we go back and we win the game because we can trade twos for the rest of the game and be fine. And then you're told, and it should be common knowledge. I don't even know why you'd have to be told this, but apparently you do. You don't help in that situation because you help. By helping, you're gonna get a kick out, you gotta get a closeout, and you could get a open 3. Or a foul in 3 free throws, or a foul in the and 1. Makes the 3, get a free throw. Well, apparently they were told this in the huddle before they came out, and one person just decided to help, right? And I get it. Sometimes you're so conditioned to help that you kind of help your player. De'Aaron Fox helped. Ball gets kicked out to who he's guarding, Jaden Ivey. He closes it out really bad, fouls Jaden, and Jaden hits the 3 and 1. So he makes a free throw. They're up 1. Sacramento loses. All right. Now Mike Brown addresses it in the post game, on the podium, and was talking about it. And he's like, yeah, everybody was told, so I have to look at the film to see why De'Aaron, helped, because I think if you look at that play, I don't think anybody else moved off of their man. Everybody was hugging their man, which is what you're told to do. So the fact that he did it, okay, that happened. Mike Brown, he addresses it. He doesn't get up there and say, oh, De'Aaron did. He answered the question, and he gave a very, honest answer about it. De'Aaron gets up there and was like, well, no, I don't know. I got to take a look. Very brief with his answer. And I felt like that's the perfect opportunity for you to be accountable. You get up there and say, you know what? I messed up. I don't know what I was thinking. Everybody's going to live with that, because everybody can think of that one time where at least one time where they've done something. They've been, man, why did I do that? What the hell was I thinking of, right? So that this is something that can happen in sports. We seen Taylor, running back for the Colts, run a touchdown, and as he's getting to the goal line, he lets the ball out of his hand. So ball goes in the end zone, it's a touchback, right? So we've seen players make weird plays, bonehead, low IQ plays is what I call them. I get it. That's going to happen. But to not be accountable when everybody knows that you messed up was bad, right? That's one thing. So now he gets fired the next day, and then they asked him, and he's like, something to the effect of, I was, I hate to see him go, next man up. He did get an extension, so he's going to get paid. Whoa. Now, I don't know if it was phrased that way with those words, but that's pretty close to what I read. I'm kind of like, damn, man, that what you had more to say about this than you did about you making a mistake that you made. So I don't feel like there was any accountability with that. And that organization has made really bad decisions throughout. They make one good decision that leads to success, and then you throw it away because they've hit a bad patch. The Minnesota Timberwolves were in the Western Conference Finals last year. They've hit a rough patch. They made some changes. Changes take time, and here's what I'm wanting to get to. I love DeMar DeRozan. I just don't think that he fits that team's identity and what they want to do. Right now, I've heard that there was stories about Mike should have went to him, wanted him to come off the bench. I've heard that some players were kind of unhappy with the way the offense was run, that they needed to change and switch some things up. And I know some coaches are resistant to change, and if that's the case, then yeah, those things contributed to it. I don't think it was just that incident that occurred last with him calling him out. I don't think that's why they fired him. I know the owner is I don't know the owner, but the owner has shown a history of being impatient and wanting to be involved with stuff. And he's fired some good coaches in the past. I mean, he fired Mike Malone, and Mike Malone has won a championship with the Denver Nuggets. And he spoke on it like, yeah, that dude, he in so many words, yeah, that dude different, man. He be doing some crazy shit. So, but I mean, he didn't say that, but the hood thesaurus, the hood interpreter, when you put the words in and you push the hood language, that's kind of what it come out to. I might have to do the hood interpreter on some of the stuff that some people say. But in any case, I don't feel like DeMar. I'm trying to think of the team that DeMar, like when he was at Toronto, it was perfect fit. But it's like some of these teams, it just doesn't. With the Bulls, it didn't feel like he brought something. It's hard to put your finger on because he's killing. He's amazing. Mid-range assassin, can score, brilliant footwork. He plays D. He's not like just some slouch that says, oh, I just want to get the ball. But for some reason, there are certain teams that certain players you say, okay, yeah, I can see him on this team, but I don't know if if he's going to be something that makes, like, I don't feel like they really needed anything. I don't feel like they needed another player of Rosen's stature with what he brings. It looks like it kind of like they were still trying to learn how to play with each other, right? Do I defer? Does he defer? So that stuff takes time, right? It takes time. And it's not like they were getting blown out in a lot of the games. They had a game against Denver where they had the perfect play at the end, and Sabonis, bounced past it to DeMar. He lost the ball. He had the ball. It was going to be an easy catch. He was going to get a foul or a layup. I think he was going to be able to get a layup or possibly a dunk. But he lost the handle of the ball. Ball goes out. He tries to go and pick it up and stuff, and they end up losing the game. So it's not like they're getting blown out. I have to look at the state, at the record to see. I'll pull that up as I'm talking, just to see, like, in their last 5 or 6 games, were they losing by so many points. But having said all of that, realistically, this is it just didn't seem like a fit. It seemed like it kind of took them back. Okay, so they lost to the Lakers by 10. They lost to the Pistons by 1. Okay, the Pacers gave it to them 122-95. They lost by 4 to the Lakers. They lost by 13 to the Lakers. They lost by 1 to the Nuggets. These are the last 6 games. They beat the Mavericks last night. Now, the Mavericks didn't suit up most of their players. They've won 3 before that. So, I don't see, like, most of these games are closer games, right? Like, yeah, you're going to have games in the NBA where you might lose by 15 or 20. That's going to happen sometimes where when you show up, their energy and stuff and their force is just out. They're just greater than yours, and you just get beat up. But it looks like they've been competitive, so it takes time. And yeah, obviously you should have won some of those games, but it takes time. So because of that, because of the way they did him, I can't root for Sacramento. I mean, I know they like, we don't care. We don't need you. Yeah, I know you don't need me to root for you, but yeah, I'm not rooting for you. I'm probably gonna root against you. And I would look. De'Aaron came back out later. I don't even know if he even really tried to clean up what he said. I would have liked for him to own it. And what bothers me was we're trying to teach kids. You got to be accountable. We're trying to teach parents. You got to be accountable for things that you do and say. And this is to me, it was a perfect opportunity for a star player to say, yeah, you know what? I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did that. I know what I was told. Ain't nobody gonna kill you for that, man. Ain't nobody gonna kill you for that. So it kind of took I'm not saying I hate De'Aaron Fox. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not saying I don't want to continue to see him do well, but that's a strike against him with me, and I'm going to need to see or hear him in the future be accountable for something, and step up and be accountable, right? That's all I'm asking for. I'm okay with you making mistakes. I'm not okay with you making the same mistakes, but I'm okay with you making a mistake here and there, right? I call them low IQ, and it's okay to call you out, because if you hit the game winner or you have 50, we can celebrate you. So we need to get out of this thing to where you can only say something good and not bad, man. Call it what it is, dog. It was a bad mistake. You lost the game because of it. So we move on. All right. But it was a sad situation, and I'm not pulling for that owner. I'm not pulling for that owner. I'll just put it that way. I'm not feeling that. Okay, next thing is my man JJ Redick, head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Why am I bringing up JJ? I thought last year, I thought about the fact that when he called out Doc Rivers, He was saying, Doc doesn't take accountability for what he does. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never his fault. And, Doc didn't really respond to it. His son responded to it, and other people responded like, dog, you had your best years under him. Now, for context, JJ has said he's had some hot takes, and it's weird because he kind of professes that he doesn't have hot takes. He's not one of those kind of guys, but he was talking about Bob Cousy. He talked about some other, like that they were scoring all these points playing against plumbers and firemen and stuff. And old heads took exception to that. Jerry West was like, man, who is he? What has he done? He's a nice little shooter, but he's played at a whole bunch of teams. So that means that your value wasn't as much as you thought because you keep getting traded, right? And he was just a catch and shooter. He wasn't hey, I can create my own space. And look, for the record, that time, that was kind of what shooters were, right? They weren't really, they were, scorers, but you always had the token shooter that, you running them off screens, catch and shoot. I've always prided myself in training my players. Look, you can't just be one dimensional because if we cut that off, there's nothing you can do to help the team now. So you need to make sure that you are able to two dribble pulls, step backs, counter moves. You don't have to be Kyrie Irving, but you need to be able to create your own space sometimes when they're taking that away. So that was something that I never saw JJ add to his game, but he was successful at what he did, right? So now he's with the Lakers. And I know in the summer when they was talking about it and they asked Doc, and Doc was like, I sure hope he gets the job because I want him to see how it is, how he's gonna fare winning stuff, because you think until you become a coach. Well, right now, the Lakers are they're 15-12, right? But they had a brutal stretch where they had lost, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7. Right now, they went on another 3-game winning streak. They lost one. They've won their last 2. Okay. Now here's the thing. D'Angelo Russell just got traded. Right. He got traded from the Lakers, and he's going back to the Nets. So it's kind of funny because is that you saying, hey, D'Angelo Russell's not going to be, he's not going to be able to help us. Now, I'm not saying, whether that's here or there, but it is interesting because, apparently him and D'Lo were there was a lot of communication. He was really into D'Lo at the beginning of the season as far as trying to get him in and contacting him and making sure everything was good. And D'Lo came out and was talking about how excited he was with being on this team and the offense, and JJ's brilliant and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but D'Lo's had a history of being a certain type of player where he's going to give you some games and then he's not going to give. I'm going to have to call my man Manny Rich, because that's the one thing I used to tease him about. Like, he'd be like, yeah, you see what's going on? You see what D'Lo's giving? I say, yeah, wait about 4 games. And then sure enough, like, yeah, okay, I see what you say. He's up and down. He can be one of the top point guards if he was consistent, but he's not consistent, and then he's lazy on defense. He makes weird decisions. He sometimes doesn't understand time, score, situation, and stuff like that, right? So he's gone. All right. Now, is that JJ saying, hey, it's not my fault? Or is that JJ saying it's my fault, I couldn't make you a better player? Because towards the end, he wasn't even playing D'Lo that much. D'Lo's minutes. Let me go back to my stats. Let me pull it up. Let me pull, because he just got traded. So I'll pull up the stats for when they lost to Detroit. Okay, for the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell played 16 minutes against Detroit. Okay, against the Kings. He played 30 minutes. He scored 20 points, right? The game before that, against the Kings, they played him back to back. He played 23 minutes, 16 points, right? These are coming off the bench. He's coming off the bench. 17 and 7 points. 17 minutes, and he scored 7 points against Memphis. Okay? Against the Timberwolves, they lost. He played 20 minutes, scored 5 points. Okay, and I'll find one more. The Trailblazers. He's coming off the bench. He scored 28 points in 34 minutes, right? Now, I'll go one more against the Hawks. They lose in overtime. Let's see what he did. 21 minutes, 8 points. So with him, it's up and down, right? He was starting, but then he moved him to the bench. So he's still averaging, looks like he's still averaging, 20, 25 minutes a game. Okay, the last game he started was against the Heat, and they lost big, and he played 30 minutes, scored 12 points. So you're going to get some with D-Lo, but it's not consistent. And that's something I've been saying as I've watched D'Angelo Russell play throughout the years, man. Like, look, if he could be consistent, I'm not saying you're going to score 30 every game. But if you can be consistent in your force and your effort and your play every game, he'd be a surefire starter. I think he'd be one of the top guards in the league. That's just my opinion, right? But yeah, I'm wondering how it's looking right now, because everybody's gonna pile on. They're gonna pile on them right now because they're losing. And as the season goes, if they're not getting any better, and the press conferences JJ Redick does, it's like he has to make sure he doesn't he has to answer the question a certain way, because he's aware of what happened, what he said. He knows that people are waiting for him to have real bad things happen, because a lot of people say, man, he skipped the line. He didn't earn the coaching job by the ranks of the traditional coaches, because he's never coached. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say that if you've never coached, you can't be a coach. If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. But being a head coach for the first time ever in the NBA, that's big. So what he did do is he surrounded himself with a lot of veteran assistant coaches to help him through stuff. But when all said done, it's going to be on him. So I'm interested to see how the rest of the season goes for him, because looking at his face, a lot of times he looks stressed. He looks stressed. And I know he's stressed because you've probably started. It's weird because you would think you would know, like, you play in the league, you know how players are. You know how some guys are. So you would think that as a coach, if you played, you kind of know how they are. You got to figure out how to make them tick. All right, and I think the biggest issue is, and it's always been an issue, you can't have a point guard. You got to surround LeBron with shooters. You can't have somebody that handles the ball, because LeBron's going to dominate, right? He's going to dominate the ball and run. You might as well call him the point forward and let him run, but he tries to say no, he's going to let everybody else do their thing, but that's not the way he operates. So you got to have more shooters around him that can catch and shoot and defend. So let's see if they get that with Dorian Finney-Smith. I used to call him 50 Smith, but it's Finney-Smith. All right, so my last topic is Colorado getting destroyed. I mean, they got the brakes beat off of them by BYU in the bowl. It was nowhere close. I think it was 34 to 14 or something, or 17, but it wasn't that close. And the question is, it's like, is Colorado a good team, or are they a bad team? And it's like, you look at who they've beaten and you're like, yeah, but those teams weren't good. I don't know. Sometimes I think they look really, really good, and sometimes I think, man, they're not a good team at all. But I will tell you this, the trajectory is, this first year, everything was exciting. They ended up 4-8. They lost a lot of their last games. A lot of those games, they weren't getting per se blown out, right? But it was more of a proof of concept. This year, they go to the Big 12. Big 12 was down this year. A lot of the top teams weren't top teams this year. Colorado did well. They finished 9-4, I think, 9-3, 9-4 for the whole season. So they got better. They made it to the bowl. They lost. Next year is going to be the year. I'm not even saying they got to make the college playoffs, but if they get close, they have to make a bowl, a good bowl, against a really solid team and really win, right? If they do that, then I can say they're on the upside. I think there was a lot more pressure. It didn't seem like there were times where the whole team was playing the way they needed to play. Deion is such a phenomenal person, coach and player and everything. So I hope he gets it in. I hope he gets those players. And now the players see that he's not playing for clicks, which is what the Oregon coach uses motivation. I think they're going to start to get better. Now that you don't have Shedeur, I think you having another. I think it might be a lot less pressure when it comes to other stuff. So, but it was a bad loss. It was a bad loss, and there are going to be people using that against him. But think about it. First, they said he couldn't coach. He goes to one of the worst teams in CFP, Power 5, and he brings excitement and electricity. Even though they were 4-8, they were the most watched 4-8 team probably in history. This year, they were saying that they were going to be the bottom of the standings, and they end up almost winning the conference. If they hadn't came out and played bad against a hot Kansas team they should have beat, they would have been playing to go to the college football playoffs. But if they lose there, they still have a chance to play in a really good bowl against really good competition. But they got the brakes beat off of them. So I think it's going to be, interesting to see what happens. I hope he doesn't go anywhere. I hope he builds the dynasty there. I think it's suited for him there perfectly, and as long as he gets the players, I think they're going to be really good next year. So let's wait and see. But they still kind of make me nervous sometimes when I watch them. Like, man, are they going to do good or are they going to do bad? So, but we'll see. I congratulate them on a great season, and hopefully next season's going to be even better. Okay. All right, so let me get to my basketball ideology. One thing I want to discuss is when training kids, sometimes, or training players, sometimes, you have to make sure that they're not rushing through their movements. Whether it's catch and shoot, they're catching and they're kind of rushing their shot and they kind of throw it up. Or if you're having them to do dribble pull-ups or stuff like that, and they take a dribble and their footwork so fast, they're rushing their movements, it affects their shots. It is a thing, and I've had to have various players throughout time as a trainer that I've actually had to kind of work with and try to get them to adjust and slow down their footwork, because I tell them it's a fine line between speeding up and rushing. You can't speed through your shot, right? You can't speed your footwork up and rush it. I'm sorry, you can't rush through it. You can speed it up, but it's processed through it. So whether it's one dribble pulls, two dribble pulls, you'll know if you're rushing if as you're shooting you're always off balance. Either you're tilting forward, you're tilting to the right or to the left, depending on which way you're going. You should always be balanced. So when it comes to rushing through the movements, what I do is I typically have them to go slow. And then sometimes I have to show them what I'm seeing by filming the move and letting them see it and saying, look, this is how you got to correct it. But there are some players that just rush through. The reasons for sometimes that some players rush through is that they're in a hurry to get the shot off because they don't want their shot to get blocked, right? And I get that. So it's just a matter of showing them you can get to that spot and make those same movements quicker. And now you have a little bit more time as you're going up, right? So instead of when you sweep, instead of sweeping slow, one dribble, and then the second dribble, you're going really fast trying to get in your footwork and shoot. No, if you make that sweep move fast and that first step and move faster, then as you get into the pickup and going up into your shot, you're going to get the results that you need when it comes to shooting. So rushing through movements is a thing, and it's a thing that I genuinely have to slow down to let them see and understand. They can't go that fast. They have to ease into it. It's the difference between rushing and going fast, right? Or speed. Okay. And once they understand that, then it helps them. The last thing I'm going to talk about is I sometimes have to teach players how to go off 2 feet when they're attacking the basket, because a lot of players, they go, they're in traffic, they're driving in traffic, and they go off one leg, right? And then they get bumped, and as they get bumped, they lose control of the ball, they fall, they don't get a chance to make their shots. So I have to teach. I had one player in particular that I had to teach how to go off 2 feet. And once the player adjusted to it and they saw the benefit, it's like that's what they're going to use. Now, it helps you in a lot of ways. I would say the biggest way it helps you is for balance. Balance and control, which is kind of one thing, one word. So I could say 3 things: balance, control, and contact. Because if you give contact, you're going to win more times. If you're jumping in the air and somebody's coming towards you and they make contact with you, a lot of times you're going to move back. It's going to throw you off. So when you're coming into that 1-2 going up, usually is when you want to go have the contact. And if you're making contact in the air, you want to be going towards them as they're coming towards you. So when you make contact, you kind of cancel each other out. Unless the player is, 240 pounds and you're 113 pounds, you're going to lose, right? It's just the laws of inertia and physics and all of that stuff. But for the most part, when you're going off of 2 feet in certain situations, so I don't want to make you think that you can't drive and go off 1 feet. That's what I'm not saying that, because there are plenty of times where players drive, they go off 1 feet and they finish strong. What we were talking about was a simple situation where I believe the player was on the baseline and they were driving and they drove and the defender was kind of coming towards them. And as that player went up, they went up, and the player got bumped and fell back, right? If I'm going and I have a straight lane and you're with me and you're not coming, you come up at me at the last second as I'm already in air and that force is moving forward and I'm dunking, more than likely I'm going to win that, right? I'm talking in certain situations that this would apply to. So by teaching them that, I basically just said, look, this is another way to do it. And if you look at doing it this way, this could probably help you out tremendously to where you're not going to have, you're going to be able to still sustain in the air with balance and control. So I look forward to finding out if it's successful and helped them. And I know when I was playing, I did it a lot. And those kind of things really helped me, because of being a smaller player, you got to take every edge you can. So using my legs, because my legs were big and strong. They are still, but they're not as strong as what they were. But at the same time, it allows you to get up and take contact and be able to control your body and shoot. So that's going to be all for today. It was a little bit quicker, a little bit longer, because I was really going into those things that interest me. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to, finish. Got to get ready for my apple cider. It's only 1 glass of my grape juice that I drink. I only drink 1 glass of grape cider or grape juice or whatever the wife gets, so for us to celebrate. If I have to celebrate drinking Sprite or water, I'm good. So y'all have a great New Year's. We're gonna hopefully have a guest next for the next segment, and we'll get those things going. So I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end the year. It sounds weird. I'm gonna end this year. I'll see y'all in a year. It sounds funny. I used to do that all the time. Like, man, I ain't seen you in a year. Yeah, you just saw him yesterday, but because yesterday was the last day of the year, and this was New Year, we used to joke about that. Or, boy, I ain't ate nothing in a year, man. So, well, however you bring it in, let's just be careful, take care of each other as always. And I'm gonna end it like I always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. I'm out.
Street cred sports, say it with your chest. Yeah. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, okay, that's a bet.